You can't help laughing, can ya? It really tickles your pink. The ceiling is just falling down on ya. There's a darn gate crack in the sink. The ute is a flat tyre, so you can't go out for a ride. The electric fire has had it. There is 2 feet of snow outside. The dog is eating your dinner. The cat is massed on the floor. Oh dear, what else can happen? Hang on, I'll think of some more. The mortgage is due this Friday, and all you have in the bank is a couple of lousy dollars, and that won't fill up your tank. But you can't help laughing, can ya? 'Cause there's a lot far worse off than you. At least you're alive and kicking. What's more, you're breathing too. So don't tell other people of all your troubles and woes. They'll just say, I don't feel so good either myself, 'cause I got a cold up my nose.
At the end of our last video, we'd arrived in Geeveston to spend several weeks exploring the southern tip of Australia. This former timber town is now driven by tourism and was used by the ABC to film its comedy series, Rosehaven. Behind our campsite was a memorial to the Ave big tree. You can see the outline of its trunk here. The memorial commemorates the loss of a towering 87-metre swamp gum, which started growing some 500 years ago. So that's about half its life spent before Europeans had sighted Australia. Unfortunately, in the summer of 2019, it succumbed to a bushfire. The memorial also celebrates the community resilience and the volunteers and professionals who fought the fire.
And here we have a big log, and it wasn't just a big log, it was a big job. This is laid here in Geeveston at one of the main intersections as a tribute to the timber workers. A special circular saw had to be custom made to cut through the log. The original selected section of the tree wasn't able to be loaded, so another section was cut with the use of the specialised blade. If you pan down here, you can sort of see what's made to be like representative of the railway sleepers. There's a couple of them left, but yeah, supposed to be how it was on the rail to get it back. John Jeeves was born on the 2nd of September in 1820 in Cambridgeshire in the UK. He was the second son of William and Mary Jeeves, who migrated to Australia as a family in 1842. He settled in Lightwood Bottom, near Geeveston, as a farmer. He soon became involved in sawmilling, sheep logging and growing apples. In 1875, he established the Speedwell Mill, which was at the time one of the first mills in the district, cutting about 40,000 feet a week. At about this time, he built Cambridge House, which is just behind us. Cambridge House was to become the social centre of the growing township.
One of the first things the visitor notices are the statues, not of famous people, but of local heroes, which have been carved out of the timber by a fellow called Bernie Tarr, who uses a chainsaw and a chisel to create his works.
This is Geeveston's Jessica Hanbury. Jessica was born in 1883 and passed away in 1981. She's apparently one of the really colourful characters of Geeveston. When she moved to Geeveston, she opened a drapery and haberdashery store down the other end of the street, a bit down there opposite where the Bendigo Bank is nowadays, at the end of Church Street. Jess gave generously with her time and contributing to the community. She would make sure that any disadvantaged kids, she'd supply them with some clothes for free. You know, the local sporting teams, she'd dress them, like give them ribbons and stuff to put on their bus. Just had poor eyesight, and she always put that down to the amount of sequins that she sewed on things. She learned to drive a car at the ripe old age of 63. And she enjoyed travelling around the local area. It is rumoured that she did have a bale of hay in her garage, and I'll leave you all to guess why that might have been. She passed away at the ripe old age of 97, which is pretty good innings for anyone that was born in the later 1800s. The next Geeveston character that I would like to introduce you to is Jim Hinchy, and he was the village blacksmith. James Edmund Hinchy. He was one of the early Geeveston characters, but he was born in Invercargill in New Zealand. He came to Franklin, Tasmania, and that's where he met his wife, Elizabeth Donohoe. They were married in February 1898. From 1899 to 1912, they had 7 children. It's not bad going. You know, 13 years, 7 kids, poor handful. By 1918, Jim had moved to Geeveston, and this is where he set up his blacksmith shop. And his shop became the centre for information and gossip, as farmers are known to exchange stories on local events, happenings and weather. The next person that I'd like to introduce you to is a man by the name of Jim Witherspoon. Jim was born in October in 1912, and he was born in Kinahaku in New Zealand. He first came to Tasmania on a working holiday when he was 19 years old, so about 1931. He came to Hobart permanently in 1931 after his holiday and applied to join the Tasmanian Police Force. His appointment didn't come up immediately though, so he went and he worked as a bushman in the Huon in the years leading up to the war in 1939. Jim's appointment that year saw him working in Hobart and suburban stations, and was transferred to Geeveston, where he remained for the next 12 years. Jim many times refused promotion in order to remain in the communities he loved. During his service, he was commended for meritorious service, and in April 1962 he received the Police Long Service Medal and Good Conduct Medal. He retired in 1977 after 38 years of service, many to the Geeveston community. The people of Geeveston remember Senior Constable Witherspoon as a compassionate man with a great sense of humour. As well as a fine sportsman, he represented Tasmania in his beloved rugby, and he played cricket in matches all over Huon. He believed in direct policing, preferring to take young offenders home to their parents with a good strong warning than to take them to court. He was a man loved and respected by all who came in contact with him. And this is Laurie and Lynette. His two of his children. I'm not sure how many he had, but these are Laurie and Lynette, which were 2 of his children. But Geeveston policeman from 1945 to 1957. So he served 12 years here of his 39 years service. William John Travascus, aka Willie Wascus, was born in January 1914 at Box Hill in Victoria. He moved to Tasmania in 1939 and finally settling in Geeveston with his new wife Marjorie. Bill soon became involved in the social and sporting life of the community, and his colourful language and turn of phrase earned him fame far and wide as the swearing chemist of Geeveston. He served this community faithfully for 51 years, dispensing prescriptions and advice on all topics, any hour, night or day. His "it will be down on the 4 o'clock bus" was guarantee of same-day service. Bill's 1926 Packard motor car, affectionately known as the Grey Ghost, transported many to social events, 20 being the record for one trip, and his violin provided entertainment. And I'm not sure, I think that's a bit of a thing that you concoct mixed drugs together in, just there in his hand. Anyway, nice to meet you, Bill. Good to see you still standing. Our next Geeveston character was the local doctor, Dr. Oswald Theodore Kyle, who served us on this earth from 1911 to 1980. Dr. Kyle attended Ivanhoe Grammar School in Victoria. After graduating medicine in 1939, he set up a private practice in Geeveston, and soon after he established the privately run Beaumont Hospital until the Huon District Hospital was established in 1965. During the war years, he was the only medical officer from Longley to Southport. Now that's about 85 kilometres, which nowadays takes an hour 20 to traverse. So it would have been much longer during those periods of time to get to see a doctor. Anyway, Dr. Kyle worked tirelessly for improved health facilities in the Huon District, and he was awarded an OBE for his services to the community. Well done, Dr. Kyle. And here we have a typical heritage couple. You know, typical from the 19th century settlers in this district, but austerity, hardship and remoteness confronted them in their daily lives, and they relied on their own resourcefulness and that of those close to them to be able to survive. But what they endured compared to the adversities of today, you know, it's hard to compare really. Across the street we have the Bear Went Over the Mountain, and just here we have a bit more of our wood carvings complete with a Tassie Devil up the other end here. What a trunk. Look how old that is by the lines in it. Here's the Tassie Devil carved in there as well. And a little possum at the... Is it a possum or is it another? Up the other end there.
Alongside our campsite is Heritage Park, which with some optimism has a platypus lookout. If you're lucky, you might see a platypus, particularly if you visit the park early in the morning or late in the afternoon. Watch for a line of bubbles and cross your fingers. And lucky we were on a couple of occasions. One of only 2 monotremes in the world, it has a bill and web feet like a duck, but is covered in thick fur and has a flattened tail like a beaver. You can watch them for hours, foraging about, seemingly oblivious to your human presence. In contrast to the wonders of nature, there was a car show in the park beside us. From the valiant Hemi 2-door to a Roller and a Jaguar, the spectrum of chrome bumper cars all turned up with their proud owners to enjoy the sunshine and bask in the attention of the onlookers. In our next video, We venture from Geeveston to the southernmost point of Australia, available to road users. Look for it soon.